The authorities are conducting a public consultation on whether shorter-term stays of under 6 months should be allowed in private homes in Singapore. Now, current rules require stays of at least 6 months, but there have been growing calls from some camps to allow shorter stays to cater to tourists who prefer to stay with the locals, while also allowing homeowners to supplement their income. Others have raised concerns about hygiene and security. Olivia Seong explores the issue in this week's Spotlight.
Fifty-eight-year-old Bianca Overy is getting ready for breakfast at home. But the meal isn't just for herself, but for her house guests.
I'm hungry.
For over 3 years now, the retiree has been renting out 3 of the rooms in her semi-detached house to visitors from overseas.
Curry puffs, a local favorite.
Wow.
Introducing her guests to the local culture and sites is also part of the experience, and Bianca says being a host has benefited her greatly.
I think I've had over 1,200 guests in total. It's been therapeutic to some extent, in the sense that I get to meet people. In a way, it's like armchair traveling.
Bianca uses online home sharing platform Airbnb to list her rooms.
We thought, well, all the convenience and getting to know another local area within Singapore and getting to know actually somebody who's offering the accommodation is something a bit different.
这的房子也比酒店要大，然后你和房东有一个很好的交流，也会很方便。因为比如说酒店会没有任何的地铁卡给你，但是这边房东都为你准备好了，就会比较好。
Well, the idea of home sharing and homestays is certainly not new, but the rise of online home sharing platforms like Airbnb in recent times has made the idea more easily accessible. For example, at the end of last year, Airbnb says it saw about 2,000 listings offering short-term accommodation in Singapore. That's about double the number it saw in 2013. Now, some of these platforms also tell me there may be larger benefits to allowing shorter-term stays in a country.
Particularly in a resource-constrained country like this, is that we don't need to build more hotels for certain type of events. If you think about the SEA Games or Formula 1, there's a big peak of tourists coming in and there's a shortage of rooms.
Local startup PandaBed, an Asian vacation rental platform which was set up about 2 years ago, says it now has about 300 Singapore listings.
You think about mom and pop restaurants in the heartlands, and if tourists are eating there, then they get a cut of the tourist dollar, right? But if you don't have any tourists staying in the heartlands and they all sort of cluster around 9, 10, 11 or around Orchard Road, then the only businesses that stand to gain are your kind of cliched tourist spots.
There is, however, one problem. Current rules forbid stays of less than 6 months in private homes. Homeowners or those responsible for the unauthorized use can be fined up to $200,000 and jailed for up to a year. URA says this helps safeguard the living environment of a residential development and ensures residents aren't adversely affected by the frequent turnover of transient occupiers. But online home sharing platforms hope Singapore's rules can adapt to the growing trend.
Home sharing is different from the overall category of short-term rentals, simply because home sharing is about people renting out the homes they live in on an occasional basis.
But on the other side of the argument are some homeowners and residents who have raised concerns over noise, loss of privacy, security and even the misuse of common facilities. Authorities say among them there have been calls for stronger enforcement of subletting infringements, including short-term stays. Last year, URA received 375 complaints on short-term stays. This is up from 230 complaints in 2013. When such feedback is received, URA says inspections are conducted and evidence like tenancy agreements collected as part of the investigation process. If there is sufficient evidence, enforcement action is taken, where warning letters are sent to those responsible to reinstate the premise to its proper use. URA says while there have been several cases where individuals or companies have been found responsible for short-term stay offences, it hasn't had to initiate legal proceedings against them. This is because they have typically complied once enforcement action is taken. The Association of Management Corporations in Singapore says most condominiums here face problems of short-term stays, and complaints aren't always about tourists.
Tourists forms a very different category of people. They come here, they don't stay in their unit for long, they are out all the time because they want to go sightseeing. It's the short stay one that is actually here with their parents or their wives and spouses or whoever. They are the ones that will be causing all these problems. They will place things at the staircases, they will hang things out on the verandas.
Mr. Ling hopes that the public consultation will give management corporations more power to deal with such problems.
The management could actually write to the owners to tell them that they should not be doing this or they should not be doing that. That's about all that they can do. But you seldom see the desired results. Right now, MCSDs cannot mete out any penalties or fines. If the authorities can give more bite to the MCSDs, that could help.
And this debate is not peculiar to Singapore. Some cities like New York already ban short-term leasing, while others like Amsterdam and San Francisco allow it but are considering tighter regulations. But what is the way forward for a country like Singapore? Is there a middle ground?
One technique to regulating it is by imposing a quota system, right? So in a quota system, you allow homeowners to apply for a home sharing license, okay, and then every year you get them to renew that license. If you have 10,000 residential homes in a particular block or an area, I mean, I think giving out, let's say, 100 licenses for short-term rentals is not going to change the fabric of that neighborhood.
We take these kind of concerns very seriously, which is why we push forward a model of really home sharing rather than short-term rentals. We want once you're renting your own home that you live in, you have a strong incentive to take care of what kind of guests that you bring into your home.
Some academics add that authorities should also consider the trade-offs should rules surrounding short-term stays be relaxed.
When a buyer, when they buy this housing, they may be thinking this is, you're looking at it as a private condominium. They need some exclusivity. If they want to open up that market with shorter leases, I think they have to really make it more transparent in the sense, because I think it has implication, as I say, on the segment on service apartments and also budget hotels and others.
As for Bianca, her hope is that she will be able to continue offering homestays for visitors.
I would like them to take a progressive view of what we as hosts really do. I'm a citizen ambassador for my country. I want some sort of regulation. I encourage it.
URA's public consultation on short-term stays in private homes ends on February 23rd, and it remains to be seen whether there will be room for short-term leasing in Singapore.